Actor Johnny Depp recently testified in court that his former wife Amber Heard had at one point defecated in his bed after an argument the two had. Unfortunately, she's not the only Hollywood celebrity who does that. My name's Melissa J, and we are coming to you live from our studios here in scenic Los Angeles, California. Home of the weirdest liquor store mascot ever. And in case you're wondering what kind of drugs that clown is on, the answer is all of them. And speaking of people who like to do drugs, I should probably introduce this little poop machine right here. This is Melissa J. Jr., who is also the lead photographer here at the Melissa J. Show. This week in the news, First Lady Jill Biden recently traveled to war-torn Ukraine for a surprise visit on Mother's Day. When asked why she chose to visit on Mother's Day, the First Lady replied, "If Hunter Biden was your son, then you would want to get as far away as possible from him on Mother's Day." And our own Melissa J. Jr. was there with the First Lady as she traveled to Ukraine. And when asked why she went on the trip, Melissa J. Jr. responded, "If Melissa J. was your mom, then you would want to get as far away as possible from her on Mother's Day." I can't say that I blame her. In political news this week, a leaked memo by the Supreme Court reveals they will soon be overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade decision, which will make abortions inaccessible to women in roughly half of the country. And thank God they're doing that, because as we all know, the planet is dangerously underpopulated right now, and what we need more than anything is more people. And in some lighter political news, Republican Representative Madison Cawthorn recently responded to photos taken of him wearing lingerie on a cruise ship by saying they were just goofy vacation photos that were taken while he was, quote, playing a game. And the game he was playing was called Hide the Salami. And in even more hilarious Madison Cawthorn news, a video of him has recently surfaced in which he appears to be naked and thrusting on top of another man. When asked about it, Cawthorn claimed that the video was part of his opponent's, quote, drip drip campaign against him. Well, apparently their campaign isn't the only thing that's going drip drip. You make this too easy. And in celebrity news, as the backlash over him slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars continues to mount, Will Smith announced he would be traveling to India on a, quote, spiritual journey. And here's a picture that Melissa J. Jr. took of Will Smith at the press conference where he made that announcement. A spiritual journey? Seriously? First you act like Chris Brown at the Oscars, and now you're trying to turn into the Beatles on acid in the 60s? And on top of that, haven't the good people of India been through enough lately between COVID, famine, record heat waves, and now they need Will Smith and his publicist making a mockery of everything they stand for by going on a spiritual journey at an air-conditioned 5-star hotel? That sounds about as real as my tits. And I'm just glad that white people aren't the only ones who are guilty of shameless cultural appropriation. In other celebrity news, stand-up comedian Dave Chappelle was recently tackled on stage during a performance at the Hollywood Bowl. Following the incident, Chappelle, along with members of his entourage, stomped the perpetrator to the point where they had to be taken out on a stretcher. And in the days that followed, the media coverage was full of misrepresentations that the suspect, whose name is Isaiah Lee, had attacked Chappelle with a knife, when in reality the knife had remained concealed the entire time and wasn't even discovered until after police had searched Lee while he was lying incapacitated on a stretcher. But before we go any further, let me make perfectly clear that I am not on Isaiah Lee's side on this one. What he did was stupid, childish, and petty, and he couldn't have been any more wrong by reacting the way that he did. But just because Isaiah Lee did the wrong thing, that doesn't mean that by default, Dave Chappelle is doing the right thing when he uses stand-up comedy as a place to take his prejudices towards transgenders and rebrand them as intelligence. In other words, two wrongs don't make a right, which is something that even a 5-year-old can understand, but apparently Dave Chappelle can't. So let me take this opportunity to say directly to Dave Chappelle that if you still don't understand the general sense of outrage among transgenders towards you, try putting on a wig and a dress and going through an attack like that all by yourself without having a large entourage of muscular black men ready to step in and defend you. Or maybe see what it feels like to have somebody try and run you over with their car, the way that I have. Since you're the big man on campus with so many transgender jokes, you know what else you have so many of? Bodyguards. But before we get out of here, let me take a moment to go on record and say that no one in comedy should be physically assaulted for anything they say on stage, no matter how offensive some people might find it. But if anyone wants to attack me on stage, please feel free to do so, because my career needs all the publicity it can get. And to everyone watching at home, thank you so much for your time. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to press the like button and leave a comment in the comment section. We would love to hear from you, and we'll see everybody next time.